it'll be coming up here pretty quick in just a few weeks. And we're planning to have a party to celebrate James's retirement and his 38 years with our department at the agronomy building on the North Farm on May 7th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's just going to be a come and go sort of thing. So there'll probably be some light snacks available, but with our continuing COVID situation, masks, and we're going to have it with the doors open so people can just kind of come in and out and hopefully stagger and socially distance themselves. So please join us for that. We'll probably be doing a collection for a present for him at some point. So be watching for emails from Abby and Audrey on how you can donate to something for James. You also, everybody should know that Todd Pfeiffer and Dina Vance retired at the end of 2020. Dina, we collected a nice little present for both of those folks. So thank you all if you donated to that effort. I think Todd was very pleased. He ended up getting, didn't we give him a gift certificate to Farm Supply Store, Abby, wasn't that? And it was sizable, so that was nice. And Dina got a good size chunk of money to send her off. So they were both appreciative of that. Todd is on a 1-year post-retirement at a very small percentage of effort, less than 10% of his time. He's going to be just finishing up a little bit of his sorghum work, and then plans to be done for 100% at the end of this calendar year. And Dina, I don't think we've seen since so hopefully Dina's doing well. Bob Miller has also announced his retirement, so he will be officially retired at the end of this fiscal year, June 30th. We haven't made plans to celebrate for him yet, so probably watch for that to come in another couple months. He will also go on a post-retirement appointment, I think about 50% of his effort, and he's going to be finishing out a little bit of his tobacco work over the next, I think 2 to 3 year time frame is what he has in mind there. I am hopeful we will be moving forward to replace one position. So we're losing 2 and probably replacing with 1. I think with both Todd and Bob stepping out, there will be a feeling in the department to try to replace with some type of a breeder. And so we'll be having those discussions in the near future and trying to figure out a path forward there. And then some award news. Jason Unrein was this year's recipient of the college's Cooper Research Award. So congratulations to him. And I just learned yesterday that Larry Grabo received the 2021 UK Global Impact Award for education abroad. And so you'll see that in next month's announcement, and they're going to have a UK Now newsletter and other things on it. So watch for that. I'm really pleased Larry got that award. He certainly, you all know Larry, he was really at the forefront of developing education abroad programs. A lot of that I didn't know. Did several years in Central America and has done a whole ton of stuff to bring education abroad to our college. So I'm really pleased he received that award. All right, just an update on all the research that you all contribute to. Our current, where we are in this fiscal year is not fabulous, unfortunately. You can see here the 5-year trend of money that we bring into the department, and we've been on a pretty solid increase for the last 2 to 3 years, and we are way behind schedule, 62% lower than we would than normal. And on the bottom, you can see the cumulative received by month over time. And again, just reiterating that we're kind of at the low side here. I don't know why that is. The university as a whole is on track and even slightly above track for research dollars. I am kind of wondering if a bunch of our things that I know we've gotten haven't hit yet. So I'm not, and what I mean by hit is haven't been entered into the system yet. So there could just be delays that's about getting the stuff into our reporting system. I'm not overly worried about this at present, but I will be watching it to see what happens. As you all know, the year has been just totally bizarro, and so I don't know if this is some sort of issue on the administrative side or what's going on. So we'll continue to watch that. Moving into some budget news. Basically, you guys have seen this before. Just a reminder, we've had 3 consecutive years of budget cuts, possibly even longer than that. I don't know what Todd's history was with them. The last year's obviously the largest. We had to find $800,000 to remove permanently from our recurring budget. That's a ton of money, and it means we had to shrink. So all of our money is, the vast majority of our money is spent on people, and to make that kind of a cut, we had to cut people and positions. And so the way this ended up coming out is we lost people. We lost Kai Sue, we lost Susan Leopold, Dina Vance, and we reduced our support for the Croom position, which is a shared position, and with plant pathology and the greenhouses. Obviously, 2 of these were retirement, so that was good, but not all of them were. We lost several open positions. Monsi's tech position disappeared, and we moved the turf tech position to her. So that's the way that one worked. Munshaw's faculty line disappeared. The academic coordinator position that was last filled by Rebecca something also disappeared. And we had 1 or 2 other positions that had been open for a while and that have now gone away forever. We had 2 faculty take voluntary 12 to 9 month conversions, which means they took salary cuts and reduced their salary by 3 months. So that saved another tech position, essentially, if not a little bit more than that. And so, you know, that's what we're looking at. And none of these things will be refilled because we don't have the money. So obviously this has hurt the turf program quite a bit. We only had 1 turf faculty position to begin with. It's now gone. And they effectively lost their technician position when Ricky moved to Monsi's program. Kenneth Copper was also ended at the end of December. That's not on this list because that was not part of the 9.5% budget cut. Kenneth's position was always slated to end at the end of December last year. So I didn't include it here, but you can see the impact that's had on the turf program. The only person that remains in turf is Travis Shaddix, and his position is quite tentative. He's on a terminal appointment in a research title series, and I don't at this point know what's going to happen with him next fiscal year. So right now we're moving into a maintain the turf facility mode of operation. So I think Jesse Peak and his field crew will be helping some with that. I also think Sarah and James Roberts will be helping to just keep the facility at least looking reasonable as we move forward. I do not know the long-term trajectory for turf. I would just reiterate that this has not been a decision made by me or made by the college to eliminate the turf position or the turf program. No one, to my knowledge, has made that decision. I certainly haven't made it, but because Greg's line was open when we went into this cut, it's effectively, it's done that for now. But whether it'll stay that way forever, I don't know at this point. Any comments or questions on that? Okay, so moving on to hopefully a little bit better news. Our current budget scenario for next year is that it's going to stay flat. You should have seen communications on this from the president. No growth. So what that means is that the 9.5% cut we took is staying there. So we're not getting any money back, but we're also not going to be taking any additional cuts. So most of us are feeling good about that, at least. No news on whether there will be raises or not. It's been totally silent on that subject, so I don't know what's going to happen. So just wait and see. But you should have seen that our administration reinstated the 2-to-1 contributions to retirement. They did that, I think, over a month or two ago now. And that I think is a pretty big deal. And I'm pleased that they were able to do that as quickly as they could. I know a lot of folks doubted that would ever come back. So I'm glad they were able to do that. All right, moving into a few updates here. We've got some new people that have come on board. Sarah Kane and Sean Goins have both joined Brad Lee's program, and Brittany Bradish has joined Chris Toch's program out at Princeton, all as regular staff. We've had a change in that Connor Raymond, who is Carrie Knott's lab tech senior for a number of years, has moved to become an ag extension associate working with Carrie. And then 3 opportunities to keep in mind for anyone you might know who would be good at these. Carrie will be moving to refill her lab tech senior position in Princeton. Bob Pierce is looking for a postdoc in hemp production. And Josh and Chad will be moving forward with a dollar hide replacement at some point in the not so distant future. So please keep those in mind for anyone who might be a good fit for us. A little bit of an update on students. We've got 6 new IPSS students coming slated for this fall, with I think at least 3 still pending. Our normal number is closer to 10. So if we got those other 3 coming in, that would make us closer to our average than we are right now. Victoria Bajek is coming in with Hort to work with Rachel Rudolph. Upama Dev is joining the Mo program. Caleb Perkins with Andy Bailey. Joyce Robinson with Van Sanford. Fatima Shavrar with Windruff. And Monica Talasila with Monse. So I know Monica is here now. Upama's around, though hasn't started yet, and the rest of these folks should show up in the not so distant future. A little bit on the undergrad, our new undergraduate BS, Agricultural Ecosystem Sciences, is in full throttle. Dave has done a stunning job pulling this together. I think we currently have about 20 students in the program. Is that right, Abby?
We're actually closer to like 25, 26 at this point, but yeah.
So it seems to continue to gain speed and growing. So that's great that he's got all the classes that need to be approved, and they're moving forward with the first field and farm class that's going to happen this August. So, so you might see some of them out of the farm. And Dave's also making huge strides in the certificate in hemp science. And so that one you all might remember is online only. It's 12 to 15, I think, credit hours is what most certificates are here at the university. It's got a class that Bob Pierce is teaching, a class in materials, a class in pharmacy, and a class in ag econ, I think, all related to hemp and hemp production and use, essentially. So look for that one to be online in the fall. We're quite interested to see what it attracts from a subscription standpoint. So that's all I've got there. And then moving into some nuts and bolts on updates. Obviously, I think everybody has went to Concur now, and their new ProCard routing system that has, you all know, has been fraught with challenges and taken us a while to get there, but it appears, based on what I've heard, that you've all figured it out and people have persevered and are more or less appear to be mastering it at this point. So thank you for sticking with that. You should also know motor pool is gone, enterprise is in. So several programs have purchased additional motor pool vehicles. For the rest of us, we will be turning to enterprise for rental cars. You can use your personal vehicle if necessary and get reimbursed for it. Abby and Audrey pulled together a very helpful frequently asked questions document, which came around last week. If you haven't taken a look at that and you think you're going to have to do car rentals, I would go ahead and scan your inbox and see if you can find that. We'll also get this posted on our internal website so that you guys can find it there if you need to. It has a lot of information, and of course, they're ready to help you too. And the personal vehicle mileage reimbursement form has also been updated. And this is again, on our internal website. And so if you need to go that route, just know that that's there for you. All right, a few other opportunities, and then we're going to be done. So this is a short one. There's a new unconscious bias training that's out there. It's free and anyone can take it, faculty and staff. They have a different one for graduate students. It comes through My UK Learning. And I'm not sure this link is live, but I pulled this out of the recent college newsletter, and we can send it around again if people are interested. You know, I did the very short version unconscious bias training, which they forced faculty to do several years ago. I did find it useful. It maybe even surprisingly useful. So I have not signed up for this yet, but I will be signing up for it. Unconscious biases are things we all have, and the starting point is just knowing that you have them and trying to identify perhaps what your largest ones are. So certainly encourage you to consider taking this if you've got time in your schedule. Also recall there's still the staff professional development fund. So I think they got way fewer requests for these last year because everybody's travel was down. And of course, we still aren't back to full capacity travel wise, but if there's training that you would like to do, either online, Zoom, or you know, somebody that's offering socially distanced training, I would please consider applying for this. We've had at least 6 to 10 staff do this over the years, and you know, it's not difficult to apply for, and we definitely want to support you all continuing to develop your skill set. So don't forget about it, and please apply for it if you're interested. And I think close to the last one here is just to point out that we have the VPR has moved us into phase 4 of research. So please help your PIs remember to submit revised research plans through the VPR portal once you've got all your summer workers on board. So many of us hire new people in the summer. Those names need to be on their approved research plan. So wait until you know what your summer employment situation looks like, and then put one of those plans through for approval. Still no high school students or volunteers allowed in labs without VPR pre-approval. So if your PI starts talking about either of these things, you need to gently remind them that they've got to get pre-approval before they move forward with that. All social distancing and mask rules remain as they have for the past year. So although we're moving into phase 4, we're still supposed to be 6 feet plus apart from each other, wearing masks when we're in rooms with other folks, wearing masks on campus, not packing cars full of people. all the stuff we've been doing for the past year at this point has not changed. So continue they'll continue to monitor it and watch as we move forward. And I guess I'll just say on that, you should be having conversations with your supervisors about the return in the fall. So UK is definitely planning for us to return to normal in August of this year. That's only 4 months away. So start the conversations with your supervisors about what the expectation is going to be for coming back to normal. The university will be releasing new guidelines on remote work situation. So we'll be watching for those. And that's really all I can tell you on that. I've got no idea how that's going to look. So I think it will be different than it was before. I'm not sure it's going to be that much different, just because it gets really hard to have a uniform policy across the entire campus that works well for everyone. So just start talking to your supervisors and make sure you know what that's going to be. And then finally, you should have seen, I took me forever, but I finally rolled out the staff recognition program. I had 2 come in. I still am working to get those presents and get them delivered, but I'm not supposed to call them presents, recognition gifts or whatever, and get them to people. So that's been a little slow on my end, but please remember that this is out here always available. So if someone does something out of the ordinary, good for you, I would encourage you to nominate them. This is just staff, not for faculty, not for graduate students, but all 3 of those groups and postdocs can nominate staff for this award. And so we'll try to give you a little reminder jingle that this is out here a couple times a year, but just remember it's there. It comes straight to me, and it's to help us give each other more regular positive feedback for the efforts that we do here at work. And then the last slide, or close to it, is just a little bit of more good news. It's been a really rough year. Some not great and not even terrible things have happened to us individually and here at work, but there has been good news. And so I just wanted to leave us with that. Dan Quinn is graduating and got a faculty job at Purdue and is, I think, moving there now, if not already there. So it's good for him and his family to see him moving on. Same for Jesse Carmack. Just got his PhD out of Dave Van Sanford's group and is moving to a breeder position in California, which he's really excited about. Sam Luthold just finished his master's degree with Hannah and is moving to start a PhD at Colorado State University. And I know Virginia Burgess is getting ready to defend and presumably graduate, but I do not know her plans. Does anyone else know what Virginia has got lined up? Sounds like a no. Anyway, I think it's impressive that we've got 3 PhD students and a master's student just from this semester that have been able to continue to make the progress they need to get their degrees and to move on with their professional goals in life. And so thank you to all that you all do to help these students get on through and train them. I know you're active in their training. And I hope you feel good about the fact that we've been able to continue to make progress this year with the students. And then finally, the thank you. And now I will release you for what I hope you have a delicious coffee break or tea break in your near future. I personally love lattes and haven't had one in ages. And I got motivated by this little picture here, and I'm going to make myself those muffins at some point this week. They're called Morning Glory muffins, and they have carrots and dates or prunes in them, but I don't have those, so I'm going to do carrots and raisins at my house. And that's all I have, you guys. So anyone have any questions or comments? All quiet on the Western Front. One thing I forgot, looking at Jesse, you may have heard about administration is planning to do some centralization of our business and our IT functions. And those things are being motivated by our cybersecurity issues that we've had the past year, which have been huge and scary. And so I think they just want to make sure everybody is doing the best they can from an IT standpoint, and they feel like to make that more universal, centralization is needed. On the business front, it's been motivated by the fact that College of Education had an embezzlement situation going on, and I believe another one of our colleges has got multiple internal audits and not great things happening. So that's what's pulling that one. So far, what we think about that is that this will be one person at the college level that will report to central IT, for example. So that person would be maybe 51% central campus, 49% College of Ag, Food and the Environment, and that Jesse and Brian and all IT people here would report to that individual, and then that individual takes it to central. So we don't think this is going to be position elimination or even a dramatic reorganization. We think it's just going to probably organize where there is a point person for the college who then is the direct communication with central. We don't know that for sure. Nothing has been said, but that's how it worked for advising. And so that's kind of what we're braced for at the moment. All right. Unless you all have something else, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just one comment, Rebecca.
Yep.
I understand from the guidelines for the new phase that if two people are fully vaccinated, that if they feel comfortable, that they can work, even though socially distanced, but they can work without mask.
No, that is not the case, Natalia. They have not said that.
I read it somewhere.
Well, if you can find it, give it to me. But the communications to me have been that is not the case so far. They're
Okay.
still recommending masks.
Okay.
If you find it, send it to me. I mean, I'd be happy for that to go that way, but that's not what I've been told.
Okay.
Is the freezing hire over, or?
Sorry, what was that, Anthony?
So I see you were saying that James Dolhide is going to be replaced, and there've been other positions. So the freezing hire that was put in place last year, is that over, or is it sort of kind of half over?
No, it's not over, Anthony. Basically, it's sort of gone to, we have to apply for exceptions. If you're 100% grant funded, do we even have to apply for them anymore if they're 100% grant funded? I think maybe we don't. If we did, they're usually approved immediately. It's the recurring dollars that they've been worried about. But as far as I know, we still are having to do some exception requests. Is Maggie on?
Yeah, that is correct. If it's a grant funded position, you do not have to get one. If it's an undergraduate student worker, we don't have to get one. But for anything else, we still have to get a hiring exception approval, which we've not been turned down for any yet. So
it just adds a little bit of extra time, about 6 weeks. So if you think you're going to need to hire somebody and you need an exception, just get in touch with Maggie earlier rather than later, and we can get that started.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, I hope to see several of you out at the barn. I'm not out at the building. James doesn't like for me to call it the barn, out at the agronomy building on May 7th for his send off. And otherwise, good to see you all. And I'm sorry this meeting is late this year. You know, we usually have it in February, but it just occurred to me last week that we hadn't had it. And so tried to pull it together quickly. And our next one would hopefully be in September. And if we're lucky, maybe it'll actually be in person, and I can feed you something like tasty morning glory muffins.
Yeah, those look pretty good.
Yeah, thanks.
You might have to share the recipe with me.
Right.
He'll
Okay.
just make a few dozen for us and we'll all eat them in the fall. Look forward to it.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining and enjoy your Tuesday.